Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Mukadir Laili Osman, and my colleague is Awon Teme Wepe Apolaga. Unfortunately, she's not here with me because of her health condition. She has been to the hospital. Well, I'm Laili Mukadir Osman, and I'm from Galaxy International School in Ghana. This afternoon, we are presenting on recycling of electronic waste. Now, electronic waste has become rampant in Africa. So we are more interested in working in electronic waste, precisely the recycling of electronic waste. And our work has been categorized into sections, with the first part being an introduction. After introduction, we have the aims and objectives of our project or the goals of the project, then followed by experimental procedure, the methodology, the results and discussion, the conclusion, as well as the reference or the sources of information. Now, beginning with our introduction, according to Harry in 2011, a famous scientist defined electronic waste as electrical items of electrical and electronic equipment parts that have been discarded by its owners as waste without the intention of reusing or recycling them. An example of some of the electrical devices that are being used commonly in Ghana are the mobile phones, the laptops, the computers, the refrigerators, the scanners. Then we talk about electronic waste scavengers. I mean, people who deal in electronic waste. These are people who salvage for reusable or recyclable materials, electronic materials for commercial purpose or for their personal use. And right in the picture, we can see a man burning computer gadgets, a faulty computer gadget to obtain a very valuable metal such as the copper, of which it can help him to earn a living. So we can see an electronic waste on the side there. Then, due to the inability, this is one of the problems that why there was an accumulation of electronic waste in Africa, precisely in Ghana and in Agbogbleshi. Our work is being conducted in a town called Agbogbleshi. Agbogbleshi is one of the industrial areas in Accra. So due to the inability of most Ghanaians to afford brand new electronic devices, there is a large consignment of old-fashioned electrical devices from Europe and North America imported in Ghana, which has actually compounded the problem of electronic waste. And although the importation of these second-hand electronic devices has helped people to acquire and also use electronic devices, their useful lifespan really goes beyond 2 to 3 years, because within a year or two of arrival, these electronic devices becomes faulty or they are damaged. So when they are damaged, people either discard them in water bodies or even burn them to obtain, copper, which in turn, it will lead to air pollution, because when you burn the electronic devices, such as the computer case, it will actually increase the concentration of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide, which is a heat-trapping gas. It will not allow the heat that is being generated on the earth to escape into the atmosphere. So it will trap the heat within the Earth's atmosphere, raising the Earth's temperature, leading to global warming. So the aim of this study, the project work, we are going to emphasize on the recycling of electronic waste and also the safe use of electronic waste for making useful objects such as flower pots and also picture frames. So this work is going to emphasize on making a flower pot out of the electronic waste that people have discarded out there and also make a picture frame using keyboards. What the goals of our project? Well, the first goal or aim of our project is to ensure efficient transformation of electronic waste into useful products such as flower pots and also picture frame, as I mentioned earlier on. Secondly, is to reduce the rate of greenhouse effects and global warming by emphasizing on repairs, proper storage system, and also recycling than burning faulty electronic gadgets, which releases carbon dioxide gas, depleting the ozone layer. And then thirdly, our aim is to also increase the awareness of new environmentally friendly methodologies for the collection of electronic waste in order to improve the quality of life of people and also prevent environmental pollution as well. So there is a new way which is environmentally friendly that will not cause harm to the environment, that when we use, we can collect electronic waste, safely. It's one of our aims, and also we are also going to emphasize on repairs of electronic devices that are faulty and also proper storage system for electronic devices instead of throwing them in water bodies, which will lead to water pollution, stagnant, water bodies issue that has led to some of the diseases such as malaria. Because when we discard computer cases, water is going to be deposited in, especially when it rains. You see that water will settle inside, and these animals, such as mosquitoes, or these organisms will come and then settle on, and then they will interbreed. As they breed, they will also spread diseases such as malaria and lymphatic filariasis. Well, with our experimental procedure, the method that we use in the obtaining of data, we actually use a random sampling as well as interview. So our research work is conducted in an area called Agbogbleshi, a very industrial area in Accra, where people do a lot of buying and selling, marketing of what goods and services. So we went there by conducting a random sampling where 5 individuals were obtained who deal in electronic waste, and then we interviewed them, the number of or the amount of electronic waste that each and every individual gathers at the end of the month, and that is being recorded. The table over there shows the amount of electronic waste that each individual that was selected randomly makes at the end of the month, with user A making approximately 28,000 tons, though sometimes it goes up or beyond this. And when we found the average quantity of electronic waste that is being produced or gathered by Agbogbleshi waste scavengers, it is somewhere around 28,334 metric tons of electronic waste. So we found the average, and that gave us 28,334 metric tons. So we can see that this is a huge electronic waste that the community has generated. So back to the methodology. So when we talk about the methodology here, that is the process or the stage of obtaining the data. So we are back on, after obtaining the information on the amount of electronic waste that each user or individual produces at the end of the month, then 15 categories, 15 individuals were selected from 3 categories. The categories are mainly the electronic waste sellers, the refurbishers, and as well as the recyclers. So 15 individuals, 5 from each category, they were being interviewed as to the amount of money that they make at the end of the month from the electronic waste. And we can see from the blue table that electronic waste sellers, so the average of 5 electronic waste sellers, they make an income of 70 to 140 US dollars. The refurbishers also make 190 to 250 US dollars. And then the electronic waste recyclers makes an amount of 175 to 270 US dollars. So from this table, we can see that the electronic waste recyclers make the largest amount. So according to the research, this is our result and discussion, what we have obtained from the methodology. So according to our research we conducted, Agbogbloshie generates about 28,334 metric tons of electronic waste. Out of this quantity, 5,606, representing 20%, is only recycled, with the rest of the 22,676, 667 are not recycled. They are then discarded out as electronic waste. So out of the 228,334 metric tons of the electronic waste that is being generated by the Agbogbloshie industrial area, only 5,666, which is 20% of it, were recycled. The rest of it, which is the 80% or the 22